The Weed of the Week is brought to you by Mandaco.
For lower costs and higher production, Mandaco leads with versatility unmatched. Twister is the vertical tillage unit for no-till as well as conventional tillage. See your Mandaco dealer. Visit northcountrymarketing.biz or call 877-915-8790.
Our weed of the week is Honeyvine Milkweed. It's a noxious weed, it's a perennial, and this one is tough to control.
Well, you know what, Brian? Whenever you talk about perennial weeds that are also noxious weeds, they're ones that can spread fast and take over an area and decrease the value of that land. It's something that, hey, if you see this weed of the week on your farm, today is the day. This is the $100 an hour job for today. Go out and get that thing. Get rid of it.
Okay, so how are you going to stop this thing? Let's start in soybeans.
Okay, well, in soybeans, really, your best bet is planting Roundup Ready soybeans and using a strong rate of Roundup. Now, if you've got this weed out there, it's a perennial weed. If you have it out there before you have your soybeans planted, that's a great time to smoke it because you can use a really high rate of Roundup. You can wipe it out. Use the full labeled rate. Take care of that in one shot. Now, some people will say, wait a minute, I want to use a quart now, come back with a quart later in crop. That seems to burn it back.
Yeah, but see, the problem is all it does is burns it back. You have to have enough Roundup, enough glyphosate to get all the way down through that extensive root system and kill every last growing point. When you use a quart one time and a quart the next time, that's probably not going to be enough. You're going to kill the top growth, you'll kill some of the growing points below ground, but you won't get them all, and you're going to have this milkweed come back on you again.
Okay, let's say you have Liberty Link soybeans. Liberty is definitely not as good on this particular weed as what Roundup is. It's a perennial weed, it has that big root system, and Liberty is just going to burn off top growth, and you're going to see it come back on you probably later on in the season. So what can you do? Well, you can use some of the conventional products, like Cobra does an okay job burning it back. Flex Star or Reflex will do a good job of suppressing it. Again, it's top growth control, but at least you can keep it from competing against this year's crop.
All right, how about in corn?
Well, in corn, Status is actually labeled. Now, I realize Status, does a good job burning things off at the top, but it can get down into the roots a little bit.
Pretty good on a lot of those viney weeds like bindweed and buckwheat, along with this honeyvine milkweed.
But here's the big thing. You can't go with a 2.5 ounce rate, a Roundup Ready rate or something like that. You need to use the full labeled rate, hit it early, and when you're using that high rate, I would strongly suggest doing it when the corn is maybe 6 inches tall, maybe a little bit bigger, but not a whole lot.
Real quick, any suggestions in wheat?
Well, in wheat, you have to start with a good Roundup burn down. There's nothing in crop that completely wipes it out. So it is a perennial weed. It's going to be out there before you seed. Take care of it, whether it's in the spring or in the fall.
Best shot, Bucktrol maybe?
Bucktrol's probably going to have a little
husky.
bit of burn, but yeah, again, you got to do something in the burn down to take care of honeyvine milkweed.
Yep, well, once again, this is a perennial. It's a noxious weed, really difficult to control. So make sure you're doing everything you can on your farm, especially in a burn down situation.
That's all the time we have for this week's weed, honeyvine milkweed, but Iron Talk is coming up next.